alaikum. How are you doing? You are new here, right?
Yes.
Okay, so would you like to give your short introduction?
My name is Rina Akhtar.
Okay. And what are you doing besides this?
I work as an assistant teacher.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so Reena, as per my introduction, I am Aisha Javed. I am your instructor here for System Analysis and Design. This course is completely based on the analysis of the overall system, like the organization in which you are working or any other organization in which they want to introduce some new technologies or some new um, processes. So what they do basically, they will make a proper analysis of their system, and for that purpose, they hire some system analyst. And as per this assignment activity and the whole course outline, you will be working as system analyst. So all the activities that you are going to perform will be based on system analysis, and you will share your ideas, your thoughts, your suggestions, your recommendations upon how we can do the analysis of the system to make it work better. It's our eighth lecture, and today we are going to discuss our like second learning outcome, in which we are going to recommend improvements to an existing system, like how we can improve our existing system in which we are already working. I hope the base is clear. If you have any question, you can ask me, then we will continue with our today's lecture.
Yes, please continue.
Okay, so today we are going to recommend improvements to an existing system. We will see different kind of design processes that we can use in order to give recommendations or the improvements for an existing system for an organization in which you are working or the one that you have selected to work on. So we will see different kind of diagrams that you can use in order to give recommendations. And there we have the data flow diagrams, entity relationship diagrams, and unified modeling language. And all these diagrams are basically used to depict the overall flow of data or the work or all the entities involved in a system that are going to interact with it, and how the processes will go, what is the priority of that system, what is the relationship of two entities and two people, two processes. You can explain each and everything with the help of these kind of diagrams. You can choose one that suits most with your requirements of the organization, and then you can make them by using different kind of softwares. You can also create these diagrams on Microsoft Word, but we have a professional tool which is Microsoft Visio, which we can use to make all these diagrams. So these are the diagrams that you can create in your documentation to recommend improvements to an existing system. However, when we will discuss our assignment activity, we will talk about this in more detail about how you can create these diagrams. So let's start with the recommendations process. The strategy, execution, and processes goes hand in hand. That's because outdated, inefficient, and unclear processes are obstacle to organizational growth. We know whenever some of the outdated software versions we are working on, then there are lots of functionalities that we miss. So if you want to update your organizational growth and the overall productivity, then you need to update the overall system as well. So in order to get the maximum output, you will definitely work on the processes of your organization. Whatever the processes are, you just need to be really careful to be updated. By some estimates, inefficient processes can reduce a company's revenue by as much as one third. So it's a huge amount if we talk about. If we are not making improvements in our system and the technology that we are using, then definitely we need to suffer on it. So no organization wants to compensate more revenue as per like the one third of their overall revenue, and they are going to lose just because they are not having efficient processes in their organization. So definitely this is not the case. So high achieving organizations know this instinctively. Their effort to improve operational efficiency results in the results of operational efficiency results in various improvements, like the overall processes are improved, and the main things that you can improve are the more productive employees. When you will have, definitely, if you will have up to date technology, up to date systems, up to date equipments, and all the resources are up to date, then definitely employees will be more concerned about the productivity. And instead of spending time on the needles administrative tasks or having unproductive conversation, they are focusing on higher level work that actually drives growth. So if you are going to give them updated tools that they can use in your organization, then definitely they will produce more with that updated technology. Then the financial saving is an also a plus point here. Instead of wasting money to carry out unnecessary tasks, they are redirected resources towards potential growth opportunities. So you will be having multiple opportunities that will be a potential for of growth for your organization whenever you are going to stop the unnecessary task and only focus on the updated and the newer task that will take less time to achieve more output, then definitely it will be saving your finances as well. Then you will have better products or services instead of settling for processes that work some of the time. They are supporting more consistent, high quality output with better processes. So, with the help of better improved operational efficiency, you will have the products that are going to work for you for a longer time. It's not like it will work some of the times and some of the times it will not work. Like if your technology is outdated and some processes are performed well with this technology, but some of them are not performed well. So you cannot compensate on these things because the productivity of your organization will definitely need to suffer on it. So no organization will like to do this. So, how to improve your system? We have the 7 steps process to improve the overall processes. We are going to discuss them all. This is just for your understanding so that you can better understand how you can recommend improvements to the existing system. So first thing is you need to select a process to improve. A process in which you want to make improvements, you will select that. There are processes associated with everything your organization does, both externally and internally. Like we have multiple processes in one organization, and definitely organization need to work on all the processes. Either they are internal or external, it depends upon the nature of the process. However, they need to make time to time improvements in all the processes. So first you need to select which one process needs to be improved first. Then you will think about the following as you are considering your processes and evaluating the needs for improvement. So here you will select the process that you want to improve, and you will see the other needs, and the you will evaluate the whole process or the needs of improvements that are basically there. And here we have some of the questions that you can ask yourself when you are going to select the process. So the questions that you need to ask yourself and all the stakeholders are which ones are most crucial to your business? Like the processes that you have select, either there are multiple projects or the processes, then definitely you need to select the most crucial one that are most at higher priority. Then you will see which ones are exceptionally time consuming. Let's suppose one process that needs limited time and one needs more time, then you will definitely be, first of all you will see the priority, secondly you will see which one is more time consuming, so you can do the task that need less time before moving to the more time consuming task. Which one are used most frequently? You will see if they the changes that you are going to drive are most frequently used, and you will see how you can implement the changes to or the improvements to the technology. If there are two processes that you are working on simultaneously, you can choose the one that is most frequently used so that you can make it work before moving to the other one. Which one seemed outdated? If you have two processes in which you want to make improvements, just like if you want to improve your um, let's suppose you want your advertisement and you want it to change the billboards or old advertisement techniques to the online advertisement, and you will see the other processes as well, just like you want to improve the information system in which you are going to store the information of the overall processes. So definitely you will see the priority, you will see which one will take more time, you will see which is most frequently used So you cannot skip information system on the basis of the advertisement system. Just because the advertisement system we can wait for some time, but for information system we cannot wait for enough time. So definitely this is something that we need to work first. So this is how you will set the priority. You will select the task, which ones could be more easily delegated if improved. So, after all these questions, like asking all these questions from all the stakeholders, find a way to prioritize the processes you have identified. For instance, would an improvement of one particular process directly help your organization reach its current objectives? Or perhaps improving a process that's used daily would be more impactful than one used less frequently. So here what you can do is you can do a proper gap analysis, which will help you identify the processes ripe for improvement. So we have all these components mentioned here. With the help of them, you can easily select the process in which you want to make the improvements. I hope it's clear. If anyone have any question, you can ask. Okay, so let's continue to our second step, which is to assign responsibility for the change effort. Now you have selected the task in which you are going to make improvements. Now you need to assign the responsibility for the change, and definitely it will be assigned to the people who are corresponding and who are going to work on that specific task. Name a specific individual or individuals like the team who will be responsible for driving the change effort. Like you will design your team who are going to work with you on these processes. Someone who is involved on the ground level with the process is a good candidate for the job because they are more likely to have useful insights. So here, whenever you are going to hire or select the team member, you need to see that the person who has been working in the same criteria, just like if you are going to make the changes in advertisement, then the person who is working on advertisement will be the one who is the best choice for this change, because he is the one who has the all the insights of this process and can easily manage the overall process. While multiple people may be involved in analyzing the process and determining what and how things should change, holding one person accountable for overseeing it all will help ensure continuous action. So if you will have everything as per plan, like the team will work as per plan and they will be accountable for overseeing it all, like how it is working, it will have positive actions. This will also be the person other will turn to with questions about the process once the change has been made. Like if you have made the changes in the advertisement sector, so the person who is working as your advertisement agent or the one who is doing the whole process will also be working for all the questions that may arise from people's perspective who are going to see the impacts or from the higher management, all the questions he need to answer because he is the one who is responsible for the whole change. Then at the third point, you need to write down your current steps within that process. So now you will document all the stuff like like how much processes you are going to work on simultaneously, who is responsible for these changes, how they are going to make the changes. Everything will be documented in this step. If the process is already documented, test it to make sure that all that are still the steps you take. So if you have made the documentation before moving to this part, so you can test it with the steps that you are going to take. Be sure to include the start and end points, like from where it is going to start and what will be the end results. Secondly, all the steps involved from start to finish, like how you are going to do this process, the roles of everyone involved and who completes each step, the resources or information needed to perform it. All the resources, like the resources could be the financial resources, it could be the equipment, it could be the organization or the previous technology, software system, desktop applications, and all the other stuff which is related to the task. What the process produces, exceptions to the process flow, like what are the exceptions to the process flow. If it's not going to work, what will be the exceptions, what are the other possibilities to do the work from. When it's complete, test your written description to make sure you haven't missed anything and that is accurately describing the overall process flow. So with this step you will create the whole documentation. You can say that it's a pre-design or the initial design in which you will see all the components or the steps that are involved in this process and what are the outcomes of this system. It will help you produce maximum output. Then you will identify bottlenecks, roadblocks, and issues. Just doing the previous steps will improve communication and quality control within your organization, because when you will create the documentation, you will test it from different perspectives by sharing it with multiple people and almost all the stakeholders of the specific process. Then it will definitely improve the communication. Now you need to produce more meaningful results, so you need to identify what's holding your process back. Like you need to see what could be the risks, what could be the roadblocks, like the issues that may arise during the process. Do an after action review to assess its performance. Like once you have done an action, you need to see its performance, how well it performed, how has the process been going, what's going well or not, how can you improve it. Maybe one person's task is overly time consuming or a step is unclear. Constantly prompting questions, maybe the process is too dependent on other processes or people. So all these things you need to identify. You will see the performance, you will identify the points which are going well or which are going not going well. How can you improve the whole process? And you will see if the process is long and it is distributed among multiple people, you will see for which person it is like the task of one person, if it is unclear, you can clear before moving to the next part, so that you can make it work in a better way and the people can easily understand it with the help of this process. We are basically, some of you just joined, so let me give you a recap. We are discussing a process through which we can recommend improvements to a system, like an existing system. We are talking about different things that can help us recommend the improvements to the organization as a system analyst. We have been talking about all the steps that we can follow during the whole process. So the first step was to select the process for which you want to make changes. Then you will assign the individuals the task that they are going to make the changes for. And thirdly, you will make the documentation which will let you understand how, you can easily communicate with all the stakeholders, you can get the ideas from all the stakeholders. And now we are generally talking about the bottlenecks and roadblocks and the issues that may arise during the whole process and how we can identify them during the process. So this is the whole process. For all of you who just joined, you can check the recording for the previous details. Now we are going to continue with the process. And here, for identifying the bottlenecks and roadblocks, you can ask multiple questions to the team members. Like you can review their performance, like how well they are performing, what are the steps that they are not performing well, and what are the things that they have been working and what needs more improvements, and all the other questions you will ask from the stakeholders or the team members who are doing these tasks, and then you can identify the issues. Then, after identifying them, you will find a way to resolve the issues. Once you have identified what's holding you back, work to remove these inefficiencies. Like, let's suppose we have been making changes into the technology, like we are making the improvements in advertisement sector. So you will see what are the things that are hindering your progress. You will Then you will work on to remove those hinders. You will gather a group together to brainstorm better ways to approach troublesome spots. We have discussed the brainstorming information gathering technique, with which we can gather all the people and then we can get their reviews. Ultimately we can make the system work better, and it will help us to troubleshoot the spots for which you can make the changes. Consider whether building a template would help. Some things you will never be able to change, but strive to remove as many bottlenecks as possible. So here you cannot fix all the issues at the same time. What you need to do is you need to remove as many issues as you can. Then at the sixth point, you need to test your new process. Once you have made the changes, you have implemented it, now you need to test your process. Document and test the new process that you have just done. How does it work now? Like before we were working on the advertisement, which was like the billboards technique that they were using. Now they are using the online advertisement. So how does it work now? You will see the impacts, you will see the performance, and then you will let them document it, like it's working well, it is having good results, what is the percentage of the people who are coming towards the organization with this advertisement, are any parts of it unclear, like anything that is unclear, like if the methodology is not clear to the people, they can ask, as well as testing it yourself. Have one or more people unfamiliar with the process test it so that they can understand how the test is working. So your familiarity can cloud your judgment. Take your time with the testing phase to make sure your process catches all the possible exceptions and produce consistent results. So in order to get the consistent results, you can make the testing of the whole process so that it can be understandable for you and for all the team members. The next step, which is the last step, is to share, continue to refine your process. When your process is formalized, document and share it with the team. But just because you are reached the end of these process improvement steps doesn't mean you should stop looking for ways to improve further. So what you will do, you will keep on monitoring for the new improvements that are needed for the system. It will help you make the system work in a better way. Monitor its ongoing performance and continue to refine as you hear more feedback from team members. Then after the process, we are going to discuss about the design processes which are used for the creation of the overall improvement documentation, and you can use them to create the or recommend the improvements. With the help of these diagrams, you can professionally share your ideas with the team member. So the first one is the data flow diagrams, the best way to improve at anything. This is the most easiest way to create the diagram that will help you to explain how well the system is working. The best way to improve at anything, whether that's running a business or making a cup of coffee. When you want to explain anything to anyone, this is the best way to work on. It's to figure out piece by piece what's working while letting go of what is not. So you will work on the whole process. You will get in the steps like that are working fine and how you can make the improvements. You can easily skip the points that are not working well for you. Data flow diagram shows how processes flow through a system. It also gives you information about the inputs and outputs, where things come from, which route they go through, and where they end up, and the process itself. This includes data stores and the various sub-processes the data moves through. So this is the whole process in which you can create the input and output. You can use different shapes. You can use rectangle and the um, square, and you can use the circles, different shapes, the arrows in this whole process so that you can depict the overall process, like from which you started the process, you will enter them as input and the end results will be added as an output or the end results. So after that you will make the process, you will follow the whole criteria, then you will add the arrows to show the data flow, like from where it started working, and you will perform the whole process with a proper synchronization between the inputs and the outputs. So this is the whole process which you can use to create. Now that you know what and why, it's time to address the how question. Creating a data flow diagram consists of four key stages. Sort your inputs from your output. Each process should have an input and an output. It is a must to have an input and output for each and every process. Remember this and you wouldn't end up with any loose ends. Start up at level 0 by creating a simple system context diagram with one single process. Zero level is the one in which you have only one process, and you will easily explain this process between the input and output by adding a one single process. But you can move to the next levels like level 1, 2, and 3, so on, so that you can add multiple processes to the sub processes level. Now it's time to add to meat to the bones, like from top to bottom. You want to take your diagram from level 0 to level 1 by adding more processes, data stores, and data flows. But don't run before you can walk. So you will follow the sequential step in which you will move step by step. Add items gradually and carefully. Let's suppose you have created one process. If you want to add another process, be careful. Be sure that you have made the first process completely. Add items gradually and carefully, bearing in mind each data flow source and destination, like the start and end, as well as the stages it needs to go through to get there. Then you can probably guess what's next. Repeat step 3 until your diagram has reached level 2. Like you need to create the whole process again and again. Like you are going to start the process, like input, then process, then output. All these three steps will be repeated until you have reached the level 2, in which you have added all the processes and the whole process or the overall project is completed in the diagram. Remember to take a step back every now and again to review your progress, like how well you are performing. Does it all make sense? Like every flow, every data store, the input output including and accounted for, like it is making proper sense. Like just like take it as an example, if you are adding this as a like a student as an input and you are going to make different processes for this student, so you can say that how well the process is working. So these are the processes that you will go through and you can move to the any process for the whole overall criteria. Like if you want to check the request, you will confirm the registration, you will gather all the IDs and the student's requirement, the test ID and all the other stuff. So if you now you want to check the registration status or the other request, you can check from this process. So all these processes are simultaneously linked with each other. So you can say that this is the whole process which is going from top to bottom, from student to its results, like whatever the results they are looking for, they can easily get the access to. So you need to see, is it all making the sense? Run it past a colleague for extra reassurance. Like you can give it the access to this diagram to the colleagues who can recheck your diagrams, like if there is anything or any process that you have skipped. Just like you are going to make the diagram for the advertisement process. So how you can start, you will add the input, like the technology that you are going to use, and you will add the process how it is going to perform, like the campaign that it is running. You will see the credentials for the campaign, either they are available or not. Then you will see how it is working, you will track its results, and then you will store them into data stores. This is the whole process for advertisement. This is a basic general process. You can further add multiple processes as per your requirement, as per your choice. So it depends upon you, your abilities to create this diagram. You can create the one as per your own requirements. Whenever you will be doing your assignment activities, you will see the requirements of assignment, and then you will, once you will choose the organizational data, then you will easily be able to make the processes. Then we have different kind of DFDs. The first one are the logical DFDs, in which it shows what happens during an information flow. Like consequently, you are making the data flow, and then you can easily explain what it is about. They tell you what information is being generated, where it's going, and where it's end up. The processes are business activities and they should be easy for a non-technical audience to understand. So the basically the data flow diagrams are the considered as the most easiest way to share the ideas about the processes, and it is a kind of thing that is easily understandable by the people. Then we have the physical DFDs. These diagrams shows how information moves throughout the system. This means detailing specific software program and people involved in the process. The logical one was the generic, which is directly related to the process only. Like you will only talk about the advertisement process. But here you will talk about all the softwares, the programs that are involved in it, the campaigns, the type of campaign, the like the plan of campaign for the advertisement and all the other stuff that you're going to run. You, if you're going to run any ad, then you need to add a proper process in which you will add all the people who are involved with it, all the like the duration, the activities, and all the other stuff that is related to the whole process of ad. So this is how you will create the physical DFDs. For example, an e-commerce diagram could show you how a customer places an order online, and how the data travels through your business software from receipt to fulfillment. So this is the whole process in which a customer places an online order, and then it it generates the invoice for the customer, and then in the warehouse backend it will check the inventory, it will select the item, then it will remove from the data, and ultimately the order will be generated from the data stores. It will go from for the shipment, then it will be sent to the client with proper shipping details and all the payment methods and the billing details and all the other stuff. Then the customer will receive, and ultimately you will get the feedback. And once you get the feedback that the customer has received and they have been selected, the product has been selected, then the process ends. So this is the whole process that you will create. You will not just only focus on starting the process of the online order and then it is delivered and that's it. No, you need to do the proper steps that are involved in the whole procedure, and then you will add them to the diagram. Physical TFDs are generally technical, but not always. It depends upon the requirements. It depends upon the task that you are going to perform. Then you can easily manage them with the details of the organizational activities. Next, we have the ER diagrams, the entity relationship diagram. It's a type of flowchart. Flowchart is, as many of you will be, okay, so as many of you will be easily familiar with the term flowchart, which is used to illustrate how you are going to do a whole process. So if you are going to illustrate how entities are all the people, all the processes, all the tasks that are being involved in the process. So all these entities will be segregated, all the tasks will be assigned to each activity entity, and then you will create the relationships between the entities. Like if two entities are going to share the resources, then you will create a relationship for them, and then you will explain the relationship. So on, if two people, objects, or the concepts relate to each other within a system, ER diagrams are most often used to design or debug relational data types in the fields of software engineering, business information system, education, and research. So what you can create all the entities, and then you will make assign them all the tasks, all the roles that they need to perform, and then you will create their relationship, and you will identify the nature of relationship, and then the process ends. All these diagrams, basically the entity relationship diagrams or the ER models, they use a defined set of symbols. Just like in DFD we have different symbols, we have the symbols here like the rectangles, diamonds, ovals, and the connecting lines to depict the interconnectedness of entities, relationships, and their attributes. So this is the whole process that is created with the ER diagrams. We can use these diagrams to create the whole process. These diagrams helps in analyzing databases used in business process re-engineering and in modeling a new database setup. So whenever you are going to make some changes into your system processes, or you are going to make a new system, you can use these diagrams as per the question that we are discussing. We need to make changes for the previous system that is already working, and we are going to make changes for the improvements of the system. So we can use these diagrams in process engineering as well. So this will be used. This is an example of the diagram, like the ER diagram, in which we have these entities, and like the entity is named as just like the apparel size, the product color, and so on. All these are the entities. It could be any entity, any process would be added in it as an separate entity, and we can show the relationship between the entities, like what kind of relationship all these entities have. So we can share the relationship with the help of these flow lines, that ultimately we can show their relationship, like which entity is related to which entity. All the details about the specific entity will be entered in this rectangle, and then we can create a proper relationship. Next, we have the UML, Unified Modeling Language. It is also a language which helps us to create the diagrams or the set of diagrams. that are developed to help system and software developers for specifying, visualizing, constructing, and documenting the artifacts of software systems. Like if you want to create a proper system, like the visualized diagram or the overall construction, like the steps on which you are going to work, and the documentation and all the other components of the software system, then you can use this unified modeling language for a complete package. Like everything is installed in it. You can just use it to make your diagrams and your overall system depiction. It will help you to visualize the overall system, as well as for business modeling and other non-software systems we can use them too. The UML represent a collection of best engineering practices that have proven successful in the modeling of large and complex systems. Whenever you are working with the smaller organization or the medium-sized organizations, the DFDs and ER diagrams are the most suitable ones. But if you are working in a large organization where you need to deal with all the complex and the different kind of systems, then you can use the UML, which will be really helpful for you and your organization to make the system improved. So here we have different models, like the system models of UML. The first one is the functional. In this functional model, we make the use case diagrams in which we make the use cases, like what are the tasks that we need to do. We make different use cases and we describe system functionality from the point of view of the user, like how the users see the performance of this system. Like if you have made the advertisement, then you will see what is the response of the users, and then from that response you will make the whole criteria. Then we have the object. These are the class diagrams in which class diagrams are the related diagrams to the ER diagrams, in which we create, just like in ER diagram we create different entities. In the class diagram we make different classes and then assign the roles of each class and as per the requirements of the system, which describes the structure of the system in terms of the objects, attributes, association, and operations. So in the object model, you will decide all the objects or the attributes that are related to the processes. Then in the dynamic model, we make the interaction diagrams, like the state machine diagrams or the activity diagrams. These are used to describe the internal behavior of the system, like how the system is working. If you have made changes into the advertisement policy, then what will be the results of these changes into your system? The dynamic model will show all these things. So this is how we can create the whole process. Like we can create the overall system with the help of the UML diagrams, which elaborate all the, like the functional, object, and dynamic components separately, so we can easily understand them. These are the design processes that we can use in our diagrams or in our assignment activities to show the relationships and the overall processing, like how we are going to make changes, but you are going to make the recommendations. When you will recommend them, the recommendations, then you will give them the idea to use these diagrams. And then with the help of these diagrams, you will explain the whole processes, like how they can make the changes and how the system will work in overall process. I hope everything is clear. If you people have any question, you can ask me. Otherwise, we have two questions. You people need to select one question and answer to the question.
No, ma'am, I don't.
Okay, Abdullah, you can select a question and answer it.
Ma'am, I'll answer the first question.
Okay, please.
ERD is entity relationship diagram, and it's used in a way that the diagram represents relationship among different entities in one specific database.
Okay, perfect. Good. Yes, Abdul Rahman. Okay, for those. Good point. Yes, Rina, it is. Good point. Okay, so anyone have any question?
No, ma'am, I don't.
Okay. Okay, so this is all from my side for today. I'll see you guys in the next class. Till then, take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.